Welcome to Distractible, with your hosts, Mark, Bob, and Wade. This week is Bob's Fridge. Enjoy the show.
Okay.
No, it's good. No, it's not.
I don't know, man. Like, I couldn't even. And so this leads to a whole series of, like, finally, I'm like, we need to shut the water off to the house, you fucking idiots. Like, you're not going to wedge that pipe back on there. It's snapped off, doesn't fit back on. There's no super glue. There's no flex tape. We got to turn the water off to the whole house. And so the guy who seemed to be in charge of this was like, right, the water main. And he handed me the pipe and was like, hold this on there. Like that was going to do something? Like he was holding it on there. And you know when you have a hose and you put your thumb over it and the water sprays out? That's what he was doing. He was not keeping any water inside of anything. He was just holding this pipe down and spraying water fucking everywhere. And he was like, you hold this, I'll go do the... And I, like, took it from him, and I did it for a minute, but I was standing there like, this isn't doing anything. Like, as I was doing it, I was like, he said hold it, I'm gonna hold... Why would I hold this? What is this doing? And eventually, I just set it down and walk out front, and he's, like, on the street. Each house has, like, a line that comes off that main line that goes into the house. And so down where that connection is, where, like, your water meter might be, there's usually, like, a master shutoff, like a main thing. But also, I didn't know this. Apparently, there's a main water shutoff inside the house. And so the one down by the street was like really difficult. It wouldn't budge. It was like seized up. This house was built in the 70s. It's fairly old. And so this pipe has been down here for a long time. And this dude is just like wanging away on it with a wrench and sprayed it with WD-40, and he's asking me if I have tools, which, like, I get that it's not part of his job to have to shut off the main water to a house, but these dudes literally were looking at me like I was their boss. Every step of the way, they were like, it's not turning. Both turn and look at me, what do we do? And I'm standing here like, this doesn't seem like how you install a fridge. I don't know. I have different expectations. I'm as confused as you are. More probably. And so eventually, like, I'm sitting here Googling on my phone. Dummy number 1 and dummy number 2 are like hitting the pipe with a wrench, doing nothing, looking at each other. Nothing. Eventually, I'm Googling and I find some stuff that's like, there should be an outdoor shutoff and there should be an indoor shutoff. And I go start looking around my house frantically for any sort of valve I can shut off. Finally, after a solid half hour of water fucking destroying my backyard, flooding our patio. By the way, they left the brand new fridge that they had bragged back there. He got it a full 3 feet away from the water explosion before he set the fridge down and was like, let me fix this. So this fridge is literally sitting in a muddy puddle getting sprayed with water for half an hour. Which, to be fair, I did not think of either, but I'm out here like my mind is exploding with rage that these guys just fucking broke because it's not fixed still. So finally, I turn the water off and everything calms down for a second. And I look at these guys and they look pretty shaken because, like, sure, what did they just do? And I look at them and I'm like, okay, so how do we fix this? Like, do you have a plumber that you call? Do you call your boss? Like, you did this. How do you fix this? And he looks at me and he's like, you're gonna have to talk to Lowe's about that. Apparently, these fucking guys don't even work for Lowe's. They work for a third-party company that Lowe's contracts to deliver. And I'm like, at this point, everything's calming down a little. I'm still so mad that I'm like, they looked like they were a little scared of me because my face was not pleasant. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to call Lowe's. You guys go do the fucking thing, put the fridge in there. I'm going to call Lowe's. I call, and my first thought is, okay, I'm going to get into the infinite loop of no one's going to answer, right? Because I just did this for a whole week. I call, and miraculously, a human answers the phone. And I explain, like, hey, your guys are here delivering a fridge. They ripped a thing out of the ground and flooded my backyard, and there's an active water leak. How do we fix this? And they said I should contact you. And he's like, yeah, just 1 second. And puts me on hold right away. Like, doesn't even let me respond. So I'm on hold for a couple minutes. Comes back. He's like, okay, I talked to my manager. So what we have to do is you give me your information, like your name and your address and whatever, and we will initiate contact with the company that we contracted to do the delivery. And in my mind, I'm like, wait. I'm talking to the guys who work for the company who just damaged my house, and they said I should talk to you. So the process is they direct me to you, who make contact with them on my behalf. It's a whole thing. At this point, I'm like, all the water is off to our entire house, right? Sinks don't work, no running water whatsoever. Hopefully this will be fixed fast, like tomorrow, maybe today if we're lucky. And the guy's like, yeah, so we'll make contact, and then within 24 to 48 hours, they will reach out to you and start the process of getting it scheduled to get this fixed. And I'm like, okay, you understand, the water is off to my entire house right now. It's not acceptable that maybe within 48 hours, maybe we can start the process of maybe getting this fixed. And the guy's like, that's the process. This is the process. And I literally, this is the point where I start to lose it. Like, I'm super cordial. I've been a delivery driver. I've worked in food service. I know what it's like when people are totally shitty to you and you have to try and maintain, decorum. You have to try and be professional. So even when people are terrible to me, I'm always like, oh, I appreciate that. Like, try and be nice. And I say to this dude, like, what the fuck do you mean? This is you hear me, right? Your company just damaged my house, unrelated to what you're doing. I start swearing at this dude. I start saying, like, what the fuck? Like, my shit is broken right now. My fucking house doesn't have water. And he literally, I think I broke him a little. And he literally pauses and is like, do you not want to do this process? Because this is the only process. And like, I almost fucking threw my phone. And I get that this one random dude at the store is not going to fix my problem. But holy fuck, I almost yeeted my cell phone into space because fuck. And so I go through the whole thing. Apparently, we're fucked at this point, right? We're just not going to have water for God knows how long, up to 2 days at minimum. In the back of my mind, I'm like, there's no way this is how this is resolved. This is completely unacceptable. But I know if I just call an emergency plumber myself and have them come fix it, there's no way I'm getting that fucking money back. Like, they're not going to pay me. They're going to be like, oh, you fixed it. Good. Thank you. And then never call me again.
Yeah.
And so at this point, I just calm down and I start talking to the dudes. They're almost done putting the fridge in. And the guy is like, well, there should be a way to turn off the, irrigation system, right? Should have a separate water supply. And I'm like, okay, where would that be? And he's like, I don't know, man. It's your house. And I'm like, trying to stay calm. This is a new house, man. I don't know. Like, do you have any ideas? And he's like, I don't know, man. It's all different. Every house is different. But there should be one. Like, you just got to turn that off and you'll be fine. And I'm like, okay, are you going to help me turn that off? And he's like, well, we're almost done with the fridge and then we'll be out of your hair. Like, no. So you're going to leave me with no water and a theory about a valve that will fix my problems in the short term. And this dude was not fucking helping. They're doing the fridge and he's like, wow, there's definitely a way to do what I'm talking about. You just have to find that. Oh, I'm livid at this point. You can tell because I'm still livid. I wander around. Eventually, I find a magical nozzle under a different spigot in an area I would never have guessed that turns off the water flow to the irrigation system, and we can have water in the house. Problem solved. Right as these guys are almost done with the fridge, I find this, and I come in and I'm like, hey, I think I found the thing. Like, is the fridge hooked up? Can I turn the water onto the house? And he's like, yeah. We're all good. He looked me right in my fucking eyes and was like, see, I told you there'd be a thing. This fucking guy who just ruined my entire morning, damaged my house, damaged an irrigation system that's probably so fucking old they don't even make replacement parts or there's gotta be some dumb shit from this where it's like, oh, we can't fix it. Oh no, well, it's good. We can fix it in like 2 months or something. There's gotta be some fucking fallout from this. These fucking guys, and he looks me in my stupid bright red face and is like, see, I told you so. In that tone, my fists clenched at my sides. I have never been in a fight. I am not a confrontational person. I am generally polite and cordial with everyone, no matter how much of a dick they are to me. He said that. I didn't say shit. He said that to me. I clenched my fists and my jaw and just went, and just walked out to the garage and turned the water on. As I'm coming back inside, these dudes are gone. They are gone. I come into the house, I look out the back, and the thing is not gushing. And I turn on the sink real quick, and it's working. And I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. It's fine. So we have water. The thing is, the irrigation is still broken, but it's isolated, so it'll be fine. We'll just get it fixed. It'll be fine. And as I'm standing at the sink in the kitchen, I'm looking out the front, and the dudes are like frantically like tossing their shit in the back of the truck, like tossing the tools, tossing the garbage that they had, the whatever, the clothes in the back. And I'm like, they can't be leaving. Don't I have to sign something saying that I accepted this expensive appliance? They're just going to leave it? They just fucking yeet everything in the truck and get in that motherfucker and speed off. Not another word. They knew what the fuck they did. They were fucking gone, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was my expression and my fist clenching or if they were just planning to do this the whole time. And now, so right before we started this, Manny texted me from the other room and is like, hey, water's not coming out of the fridge. Is it supposed to be getting cold? The fridge isn't cold and it doesn't seem to be working. And I just went out there and looked at it, and it's not cold. It's been plugged in for like an hour. It's not getting cold. There's no water coming out. I'm hoping there's like a first time setup or some shit that you have to go through and push a certain thing of buttons or something. But like if they set it up incorrectly, if they just stopped what they were doing, they were like, fuck, leave, fucking leave, get out of here. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I lose my fucking mind. I'm just gonna start punching things or something because I have rarely felt this angry in my entire life at anything.
If they ran because they knew it was broken and they were afraid.
Oh my god.
Like all the water had somehow short-circuited something in the pump or something like that. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry.
Do you still not know if your fridge works?
No. When I came back to record this, it was still 80 degrees inside the fridge and the freezer, and no water was coming out, and there was no sign of any reason why that would be happening.
Yeah, everyone listening at home, please understand. This actually happened an hour ago. This is literally...
This all started at 9:30-ish a.m., and it's like it's just after 1 p.m. right now.
Yeah. Oh my god. There's nothing I love more. And I know it's not pleasant for you, Bob, but there's nothing I love more than indignant rage, Bob. It's so...
It's happened like 3 times. Yeah, it takes so much to get me here.
It's so rare, but God, it's beautiful.
Well, the first dudes broke something else, right? The gas line wasn't working?
Yeah, so the first delivery, the fridge got dented. They claimed it wasn't them.
Yeah.
I had no evidence they did it, but it was dented, and they were trying to get me to accept it anyway, and they screwed up the gas line, which was an easy fix. The problem was more than I didn't know that the earthquake shutoff thing even existed. Once I learned what that was, it took me like 5 minutes to fix it. So right now in my backyard, there's a piece of pipe with a relay on top of it laying in the backyard. There's a dirt all over everything on the patio. Like, it's this very first world problem. It'll clean off. I understand that. But like, my whole backyard's a fucking explosion mess right now. And the fucking gall on that dude. Like, every step of the way was that exact same tone of like, see, I told you.
Let me check it. Hey, let me measure it.
It sounds like the needs more mud guy all over again, dude. I feel that. Like, I feel that guy. He's the Californian version of, it just needs more mud.
Better get more mud.
See, man, told you more mud would fix it. Oh.